American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
2016, year of the snake. It's time for a change in the White House, y'all. Liberty. Bring it. If you want the real deal, then you gotta get a real leader. Want a real leader, then we need a real man. Build a wall, deal with all them terrorists. America needs a man that can. If you wanna feel safe in your own backyard, one choice. You gotta play your trump card. I say Trump, you say hell When I say Trump, you say hell
Make America, make America. Hey, other folks, click the share button. Let folks know we are live. As you know, Facebook does not like to share my videos. Does not like it. So I need your help. Click the share button. We're going to talk about lots of fun stuff tonight. I'm excited. Excellent, Jenny. Good to see you. I'm glad somebody's getting notifications. It's fantastic. Send a share link. Let everybody know else. Share, 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 share. I'm going to tell you guys about some exciting local politics. All politics are local, and all local politics are national nowadays, you guys. So we're going to talk about them. It will make them very upset. Liberals trigger very easily. They trigger very easily. Their triggering is so easy. Let's talk about that too.
You like having the right to bear arms?
How's it going, Tim? How's it going, Chuck? Good to see you all.
What about the ability to work a job?
We love the ability to work a job. We want these things. Everybody wants them. This is what we want in our communities. Facts. 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 Hey, John, how's it going? Look at you here somewhere. We'll see. He'll pop in. Facebook has been giving a really hard time of trying to be my munkin. Facebook does not like the munkin. Sad. Sad, Zuckerberg. You should be ashamed of yourself treating the munkin like that. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. You are watching the one and only Trump Talk US live in DC. Excuse me. Advertisements with Suzzanne Monk. I am, of course, Suzzanne Monk. We are 8 minutes away from our nation's beautiful capital. We are about 15 minutes away from our president's. I keep trying to check this side and it doesn't. There we go. President's beautiful White House. And of course, Chris McDonald will be popping in here sometime as the Monkin. He'll be representing Trump Talk US, sharing links, etc. So please say hello to our Monkin when he comes in. Hello, Tammy. Hello, Carol. Hello, all patriots. Hello. You guys, we are having a good old time in this election season. I tell you what. Now, as all of you know, I have been telling folks to get involved, get engaged, get into your local politics at every place that you're at, wherever you're at, whatever city you're at, whatever township you're at. If it's dog catcher, I've been encouraging folks to get involved, get engaged, go out into the community and run on the issues, run good, strong campaigns on the issues, on the concerns of the people. It's time we start bridging this gap between urban and rural. It's time we start bridging the gap between conservative and liberal. We got to break up some of these Democrat strongholds, and we have to start doing that by creating real campaigns that really are offering an alternative to the status quo across the board. How you doing, Jeannie? How you doing? So, what are we doing here in Ward 8? You know what? Here in Washington, D.C., even in Washington, D.C., we have Republicans running races. Now, for the most part in Washington, D.C., we've had some Republicans running kind of mellow races, running kind of mellow, chill, not really too aggressive races. And we have a lot of, as Tim says, rhinos in D.C. Oh my gosh, we got a lot. We have like purebred rhinos, okay? We have rhinos that are literally Democrats, and they are just literally pretending to be Republicans. They're not even Republicans, just being really bad Republicans, which is what often we call rhinos in the red states. We have purebred rhinos here. They're Democrats, but they are pretending to be Republicans, and we have them here. It's the worst. It's the worst. But even right here in the 8th Ward, we have a fantastically competitive, exciting race for ANC, for Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner. Here in D.C., we have a commission called the Advisory Neighborhood Commission. It is made up of individuals who are elected across the district in your individual neighborhood. And so each ward is broken up into several different neighborhoods. And so you are responsible for your neighborhood, and you deal with public safety. You deal with advising the city council on a variety of developmental issues. You also are responsible for approving business license and these other things. It is a non-paid, nonpartisan position. Usually when you don't have to fight the Democrats for every little tooth and nail. It's all fine and good. It's all fine and good. We're having a good time. And yes, Tim, exactly. Keep a close eye on your school boards, your commissioners. These are important races. And so we're over here having a great race. Your friend of mine, Isaac Smith, our wonderful candidate over here on ANC. And the reason I talk about it, because literally the DC media stalks our show now. They stalk this tiny little show. Isn't that cute? They come in here and they stalk this show to find out things that I might say that they want to smear and slander myself or my candidate, the candidate I'm supporting and endorsing, to Isaac Smith in the ANC 8A06 race. Now, let me just tell you how heated this race actually already is. We have received ridiculous, slanderous heat. They told the whole neighborhood we were white supremacists. Isaac and I are somehow radical, leftist, Trump supporting, Proud Boys supporting white supremacists. And you know what? It's actually pissed my neighbors off. No one really believes it. In fact, there's a few. There's always a few. There's always a few really, they're just dyed in the wool, Democrat leftists. They're just angry. They have, their TDS is very strong. A lot of the folks in the neighborhood, though, are just fed up with this cry wolf mentality. Every single time you Democrats disagree with somebody, you scream white supremacist. Well, we come out and the kid that's lived next door to me for a year, who came out across the street, who held my grandpa when he was literally sitting in the steps, and we worried he was passed out, and Isaac comes over and sits with him and makes sure he gets in an Uber, makes sure he gets to his doctor's appointment. My neighbors love me. I don't know what you're talking about. This is what they're literally saying out in the streets right here in this race, this little tiny race. They're literally saying, what? That's stupid. What kind of dumb white supremacists would move into this neighborhood? That's obviously bullshit. That's what they're saying. So that narrative, that TDS mentality narrative, I am telling you from boots on the ground in one of the deep blue Democrat pocket strongholds. Trust me, these Democrats think they own every single one of these votes over here in the 8th Ward. They think they own these black votes. They literally do. And when Isaac just the other day had a wonderful meet and greet. I call it a meet and heat because they had folks that weren't very happy with him there, and so they had some aggressive questions. But Isaac was there, and he took all their questions, answered them very professionally, very politely, very strongly. He's not standing down in any way, and so they're having this whole conversation, and it's only a few folks. This woman said, well, you're here, you're controlling all these people's votes with your narrative. And all the people in the room looked at her like, what? He's controlling our votes? Says who? Because we don't agree with you that we should lynch this kid. Literally, that's basically what the conversation was. Literally, because how's it going, Bill? Because we don't agree, because those other folks were sitting there and they did not agree in the moment that they should lynch Isaac. Literally, Isaac is a horrible white supremacist. He should be driven from the neighborhood on a rail, because they did not agree with that, because they thought, well, he has a right to run his race. He has a right to his opinion. He has a right to his vote for president, because they thought that this angry lefty Democrat was like, oh, well, he's using your votes, and that's pissing people off. I really, really hope that the opposition in this race continues to play this narrative where they're going to attack and threaten folks who have signs in their yard for Isaac, or who have volunteered for Isaac, or are supporting Isaac here in the community. Even just today, my husband driving back from the post office found one of Isaac's signs in the garbage that somebody was just so triggered by that they had to get out of their car and go and put his sign in the garbage. Now, the reason they're so triggered is because the community is turning. It's turning away from their narrative. There's a significant divide here in the electorate of folks that just are fed up. They're fed up with this game. They're fed up with the cry wolf, Russian conspiracy, all of this BS. It's literally, you've been crying wolf, you've been saying Russian conspiracy, you've been saying Trump is all of these horrible things, and folks just aren't having it anymore. They're growing weary, they're growing tired, they're growing wise. They're growing wise to the grift. And every time you abuse this race card and you say, we're calling, look, it's another racist, it's another this, it's another that, and you call the names and you don't talk on policy, you weaken your position over and over, and you all sound crazy. One of the previous ANCs who's very upset with Isaac because he came on this show, stalkers, just want you to pay attention. This is the part you should be paying attention to. I want to give him a chance, because the stalkers like to, sometimes they're not paying attention to the whole show because I'm talking. They don't want to really listen to me. So I'm giving them alert. Stalkers, hello. This is the good part you want to listen to, because this is the part you're going to try to quote later. Okay. So, former ANC Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner Greta Fuller, who lives just around the corner from me, apparently in her past has some very interesting, concerning issues with her ANC, the service she did as an ANC commissioner, and her personal economics and her personal charity and what went on there. There's some questions. Isaac brought up those questions. This woman is so upset at Isaac Smith and his running over here in this little gatekeeper district. She came out into the street and started screaming at him, screaming at the top of her lungs, screaming. If you ever say anything about me, I'm going to report you to the federal government. Okay. Where do you think that information came from? It's from the people in the neighborhood, man. I just want to, if I can speak to Greta Fuller for a second, in case she's stalking my page, she might be. That information comes from people in the neighborhood who already know who you are, and they already know what you've done. So, the best bet would just be to let it go and move on and be quiet and just not talk about all of the stuff that you've done to this community to gratify and benefit yourself, but that didn't really gratify the community. If your ANC record was so great, you'd be standing on it. But instead, you're out screaming in the street, making a fool of yourself because you're upset that this young man has come in here into this community and he's called you out because he's not afraid of your pay-to-play politics. He's not afraid of your machine politician friends. He's a working class kid. He goes to work. He does his job, he comes home, and he cares about his community. So y'all got a problem. Y'all got a problem because you finally have somebody who's offering a real alternative. And you're mad because your little games are up. And they're up. The best thing to do is just to let it be up. To move on. Move on. Accept that you don't win them all. Because sometimes real citizens with real concerns and real passion for caring for their community, for doing something for their community, for actually serving the city or state or country, whatever it may be, come along. And you can't compete with that integrity and honesty and real commitment to bettering other people's lives. You can't compete with that. And we've got a lot of that going on across the country. I think these Democrats are going to be truly shocked at what they see in the Black community, what they see in these urban strongholds, what they see as far as Democrat voters who have reached across the aisle, who have walked across the aisle and are going to vote Republican. They're going to vote Trump, even if they don't vote Republican. You're going to see a lot of folks who don't even vote their down ballot ticket and they just vote for Trump. You're going to see Democrats who do that, who cannot actually vote for what's down ballot because it sucks so badly. That's how ridiculous it is. So we are in a new age, my friends. We're in a new age. Even these tiny little races right over here in Washington, D.C., in the 8th Ward, in my very, very Black neighborhood. Welcome, Chris. Good to see you. It's not about race. It's not about party. It's not about who you voted for president. They want to make it about that. But guess what? People aren't as mad about it as you think. It's time to be out. It's time to live lives. It's time to go back to civic engagement and engaging one another with respect, with mutual respect. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. You don't get to control my vote. I don't control your vote. And we don't get to be dicks to each other because of it. And if you are a dick, you're going to find yourself losing. And we're finding that right now. That's happening across the country. What we're seeing is this nasty cancel culture, hate, politics of hate from the left is losing votes left and right. It's losing votes left and right. People are fed up. This attack on Ice Cube, because you guys are all so upset at Ice Cube because he worked with the president. So stupid. So stupid. And now 50 Cent has come out and endorsed Donald Trump. You know why? Do you know why 50 Cent came out and endorsed Donald Trump? Because you guys made a whole bunch of beef about Ice Cube. You see what I'm saying? This is where we're done. This is where not just us Trump supporters who have been literally putting up with this crap since 2015, this idea that if we support the president, look, the president came down on the escalator. He talked about issues that were important to so many Americans. He talked about illegal immigration. He talked about reforming crime. He talked about Obamacare that was crushing us with the individual mandate and just bad. It was not a good program. It was a behemoth. The computer program to operate it wasn't functioning well. It was a lot of problems. We all came down. He came down and he said things that nobody was talking about. Now, let's just recall, okay, hey, Kelly, how's it going? Let's just recall, at the time, we had an election. The 2016 election was going to be Hillary Rodham Clinton against Jebediah Bush. Jeb Bush was supposed to be president in 2016. It's a fact. The establishment politicians wanted Jeb Bush. That's why they ran Hillary Clinton. I've said this like 1,000 times. I'm going to say it 1,000 times more because you guys got to understand this strategy. It's so important. The reason the Democrats were running Hillary Clinton so flawed with her Benghazi emails, all of that stuff, okay, was because they know she couldn't win. They knew she wasn't able to win because she had so much baggage. Bill, I totally agree. I'm going to put this up. They knew Hillary Clinton could not beat Jeb Bush, no matter how boring and sleepy he was. Hillary Clinton was still too corrupt. They had too much on her. It was easy to just throw the corruption things out into the public eye, control the election, bada bing, bada boom. Jeb Bush is president. Guess what? Trump ran as a Republican. And that's what's changed everything. That's why many folks are over here in the Republican Party. That's why we're over here changing things in the Republican Party, because we have been shown by our President Trump, when you not operate as a third party and play these little third party games, but when you get into the party and operate under a different set of principles, operate under the I want to win principles, operate under the constitutional, I'm going to stand on integrity. I'm going to actually care about the Constitution. I'm going to live up to my promises. I'm going to ask for votes that people don't ask for. I'm not going to fear the race card or any of these. I'm not going to fear these attacks anymore. That's what we've learned to do. We learned that through President Trump. President Trump did it. Many other people are doing it. The MAGA movement has been practicing this methodology for quite some time now, since 2015, 2016, 2017, watching, hey, Denise, thank you, watching our president succeed and learning how to do it ourselves. We should have been more successful in 2018. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people were dicking around a little too much. People were building up their own brand name. People were too busy trying to rub elbows with Trump, with MAGA celebrities, and maybe not do as much work as they needed to do. Frankly, I don't know if we've done as much work as we need to do in 2020. That being said, I think we're going to get a landslide in this election. I think there are enough people doing a lot of work, and I think there is enough of a momentum away. And frankly, once again, what has happened, just like happened in 2016, the left is shooting themselves so completely brutally in the foot. The left is shooting themselves completely in the foot with this attack politics, when they're attacking individual voters, when they're attacking folks, when they're attacking their competition with ridiculous accusations that no one believes. In this little race we have over here, if Isaac's opponents had merely come out and knocked doors and introduced themselves to the neighborhood and talked about the things that they've done in the neighborhood and talked about the things that they want to do in the neighborhood, they could have had a very good chance to win this race without any dirty pool. Isaac's a young kid. He's new in the neighborhood. However, what they've shown is that being new in the neighborhood is actually a benefit. Being new in the neighborhood actually means you haven't sat around here and gotten a chance to be bought up by the political establishment who gives out these little favors and these little gravy trains over here to pay off their friends, to pay off people who do things for them, to pay off the gatekeepers, people who watch out, who keep them in power, and never hold them accountable. And the people continue to suffer, and people are so fed up. It's so stupid how fed up it is. It keeps getting worse and worse. I heard somebody today somebody told me the other day that the mayor is literally serving up Ward 8 to organized crime. Yeah, that is what one of my neighbors told me. That Mayor Bowser is serving up. Listen to the words I'm saying. Serving up on a silver platter Ward 8 to organized crime, because we're not doing enough to actually stop this neighborhood violence. These little neighborhood gangs, once they start to develop a consistent pattern of deadly violence, that's when organized crime, organized gangs move in, because they realize that you now have a talent base, so to speak, to recruit from. Organized crime requires operatives who are willing to kill. I'm not speaking anything that isn't utterly true. And so they don't come into neighborhoods where kids are just beating each other up and tagging up each other's blocks. They come when kids start shooting each other and kids start stabbing each other. And when that gets consistent, and you can start counting on these kids to take an order, to shoot, to kill. That's when you get organized gangs. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. I've had some wonderful conversations with my neighbors in the last several days campaigning for Isaac. And a lot of folks are concerned. A lot of folks are very concerned about that. They're concerned about the escalating violence. They're concerned about hearing more gunshots. They're concerned about the violent reports that aren't really getting necessarily the kind of news attention that they should be getting. Certainly, they're not getting the kind of media attention where folks come over and start to report on the grave and growing concern. It's neighborhood groups that are really talking about it. Unfortunately, neighborhood groups that little gatekeepers kicked me out of, Ward 8 group. So it's time. It's time for a change, and people want that change. People want that change. Yeah, this is 100%. The West Coast is on fire for Trump, and just might surprise everyone. It will surprise everyone. It will surprise that. It's going to surprise. You're going to double the Trump vote in Washington, D.C. That's my prediction. I've predicted it. Now, granted, that's not a huge number. Yeah, it's still under 10% of the vote, but you're going to double it. You're going to double it. Easy. If not more. If not more. I think I'm probably underestimating, to be honest. Because people are fed up. And it's not just voting for Trump. People are fed up voting for Democrat machines. And we're going to start breaking down that idea that we have to be divided because we support Trump or we don't support Trump. We're Republicans or we're Democrats. We're going to break that down. We're breaking that down now. We're literally in the process over here in Ward 8 of challenging that. This race that Isaac's running is a nonpartisan race, but they made it very clear to the slanderous press they tried to give us that Isaac is in fact a Republican. They made that clear. He's a registered Republican, as am I. And here's the thing. We need to get past that. We need to get past, oh my God, you voted for Trump. I don't even understand you anymore. We can't talk. No, we can't talk. I had a great conversation with this woman who's like, look, she met me from the Ward 8 group and everybody was calling me all kinds of names. And I was like telling everybody to piss off. We already get all the time. And she came up to me at the park. She's like, hey, I know you're from Ward 8 group. And everybody's seen my butt over there because, of course, as you know, my mooning picture. Everyone's familiar with the great mooning story. I'll tell a little bit here. And again, folks can hear the story. But so we came and we're having a good conversation. And she's like, I just think, people went after me for my opinion just on city councilor. Like, I didn't like their pick for city councilor. And they totally went after me and they attacked me. So, I'm sure Trump supporters have their reasons to like Trump, just like I have reasons. We have reasons why we don't like him. And I said, yeah, that's true. I didn't yet get a chance to talk about those reasons. That's the problem. Folks, even the folks who actually do know you have reasons, it's hard to get past them wanting to tell you why they don't like him. And I think at some point we've got to just start, keep pushing through and keep trying to have that conversation and have that conversation be as simple as possible. As simple as possible. Start all the way back at the beginning. Why did you like Trump in the first place? The first thing I liked about Trump, he wasn't a politician. That's the first thing I liked about him. He wasn't Jeb Bush. He wasn't Hillary Clinton. He hadn't been in office forever. It was different. It was ballsy. We got to start having these conversations again. We're going to win these people back from the brink of insanity. I believe TDS can be cured. I know a lot of folks say TDS cannot be cured. There is no cure for TDS. If you have Trump derangement syndrome, you are going to... No, I disagree. I think we can talk people back from that condition. I think we can help get people to understand you don't have to like the president, but you do have to stop being deranged about him. You have to start accepting that this is just another president like any other president. Some people have supported him. Some people did not support him. There are some great things as president. And I'm sure there's some things that legitimately, when we look at the long term of history, go, those were my favorite. But we're not going to go around hating each other because of who we voted for president. 63 million people voted for this president. Many more are going to vote for this president in 2020. We all need to get along. The only reason they say no, we can't get along, is that most of the active radical leftists, most of the narrative is being formed by this radical leftist resistance who's openly stated intent is to destroy the United States of America. They don't like capitalism. They don't like the Constitution. They believe America is a slave-born nation that should be punished and destroyed and returned to the... I don't know what they think as far as what's going to happen. But they have this ridiculous idea that somehow white people who came from Europe are all evil and should be punished, and they should not have this nation, and there shouldn't be America. And this is what's wrong. The Democrats have let these radicals, frankly, European, I find it very interesting that like white people go home. You're like, but you're white people. You're actually European fascist, neo-fascist, and communists. I say neo-fascists. They call themselves anti-fascists. They're actually neo-fascists. They operate with those same fascistic tactics. You say that 10 times fast. Fascistic tactics that use violence and intimidation to control people and control people's opinion and control their political participation. So clearly that fascism continues on. But they're European. This movement comes from... That's why I find so funny that they're over here telling us we need to go home when they are literally a movement that has no right here to America. They didn't fight for its independence. They didn't stand here and stand shoulder to shoulder in the early days with Native American tribes. They did not, in fact, none of that history. They came over here as radical leftists in the 60s and 70s. They tried to push their agenda during the anti-war movement of that time. And they are here again. Some of them stayed, infiltrated our university systems, continued to teach and organize, and continue to develop a resistance for just this moment. Now they're very upset because they were very close to establishing a global new world order and collapsing the United States, as you can see with this pandemic, which would have collapsed the United States had that been done under any president other than Donald J. Trump. This was the fundamental transformation that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton were planning for this country, only it would have collapsed us entirely and turned us into a communist nation, a global communist nation. It didn't happen because Donald J. Trump's in the White House. So, y'all can be mad if you want. History is going to show who's on the right side of history and who's the wrong side of history. And it's going to be pretty clear that the folks who are part of that Bush-Clinton dynasty club are on the wrong side of history. And those of us who put everything we had on the line to defend the Constitution, to protect citizen governance, to restore power to the people, to vote out these folks like Nancy Pelosi, who, yes, I believe Nancy Pelosi is so stupid and she should be in jail. I totally agree with you, Zach. Frankly, there's some problems with Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan. There's a lot of rhinos we got problems with. We got problems. We've let too many people sit in power for way too long. This is awesome, Bill. Bill says, I've converted 13 Trump haters to Trump supporters. That's what we do. We keep talking. We keep talking to people. We keep sharing information. We keep sharing facts. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Joe Biden before I close out. I'm going to close the show out a little early. Isaac's got an interview he's going to do here in the studio, so I want to make sure that I am available for that. So we are going to close out the show a little bit early tonight, but I do want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Joe Biden. You know, it's funny that you have to have social media giants actually block any mention of the heinous crimes that are starting to come out on Hunter Biden, about Hunter Biden's laptop, and of course, thus about Joe Biden as well. Certainly crimes of a sexual nature, child pornography. The individual that has actually been brought onto the case is an expert in child pornography. That's the kind of cases he takes. So what the rumors are, and I'm just going to tell you what the rumors are. I haven't seen the laptop. My friend Chanel Ryan, who is the OAN White House correspondent. Love her. She's a beautiful woman, beautiful person, beautiful friend. Her husband, Cortland. I think she might have taken Cortland's name. I don't know. Nonetheless, her and Cortland, beautifully brand new married couple. Love those two. She tweeted out that she's seen what's on the laptop and that it should have the Bidens in jail. What's on this laptop? Rumor has it may actually be Hunter Biden violently raping a Chinese girl. Now, I'm a little suspicious that this laptop just showed up at the workshop, and bada bing, bada boom. All of that is just happens to be there. This is 100%. Yeah, 100%. Zach, you're right. Joe Biden is not going to win president of the USA in any way, shape, or form. He's going to be lucky if he stays out of jail. And I don't know how his son stays out of jail. When you added the Burisma case, there's information on the Burisma case in these emails, in the Hunter Biden laptop. When you start to look at these other heinous crimes against children, against child pornography, and in fact, potentially child rape, and who knows, murder. I don't know what's in the tape. I don't know what's in the video. But I do know what pedophiles do. So I do have grave concern at what we're seeing. And this is something that the Biden family has tried very hard to cover up. I think they are continuing to use every power that they have to cover that up. But I'm going to actually go out on a limb. Hunter Biden is in a big world of hurt, and he knows that from the Burisma situation. I would not be surprised if Hunter Biden gave up this information willingly for either, some sort of reasonable exchange of consideration for giving that up, or frankly, just to be done with it, just to be done with his father's pedophilic ways. It's very possible that Hunter Biden was raised in a home with a pedophile and has been very tormented as a young man and growing up. We don't know what he's been through or how he got to have such a drug addiction and what has caused that situation. So we're going to find out. I think we're going to find out. It's going to be very interesting to find out going forward. Certainly, there's some problems. There is alert, danger, Will Robinson. There are some serious problems when it comes to what's going on at the Biden house. So we'll see. We will, in fact, have to see. So, this is what we've just got to keep pounding ahead. We're now in fail-safe mode, you guys. We need to keep pounding ahead. We need to keep being aware of potential voter fraud going forward. Obviously, we're going to need to be watching out for that. I think there's going to be a landslide vote of Republicans this year, of Democrats moving over to the Republican Party. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I even suspect we will know the results of the presidency on the night of the election, but we'll find out. It's very there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors at play. What I will say is that the time has come to do one of let's say, 4 things. Okay. Number 1, vote. You need to vote yourself. Make sure you can vote. 2, make sure your friends can vote. Make sure you get people to the polls. Make sure you get, if folks are voting in person, offer rides. Make sure we're getting as many people to the polls as possible. If they're voting by absentee, whatever way they're voting, please assist. Make sure, ask your neighbors, ask your friends, ask elderly folks, get these votes in. Get these votes in. So important. But number 3, let's keep sharing stuff about Joe Biden. Keep demoralizing your Democrat friends. Let your Democrat friends know it's okay just to sit this one out. We've done it before in elections, second term elections, as we're seeing here, where an incumbent president is running for re-election. He's a very popular president. Demoralizing Democrat voters by telling them the truth about Joe Biden over and over again. Good stuff. And be prepared. Be prepared to keep staying focused on these races, even after the election, even after we know that President Trump has won his re-election. We need to stay focused on these House races, these Senate races, because that is going to be so important, so critical. Taking the House back is where they're going to really fight. That's really what they're trying to make sure. They know Joe Biden can't win this race, you guys. They know it. They know it. They are fully aware that Joe Biden cannot win this race. But I can tell you right now, oh yes, babysit. Valerie, such a good point. Offer to babysit. New moms around me are very unlikely to vote. Babysit. Offer to babysit for these people. Hey, you go vote. I'll sit with the kids. Do it. Great call, Valerie. Great call. Glad I processed what she was telling me to tell everybody. So, we're going to get this done. The Democrats don't know what's coming, but we need to keep following through. We need to run hard all the way through the end. We've seen so many races, both real live races and political races, but we don't run strong all the way through to the finish. You can lose it at the end. And even beyond the finish, into the vote count. We've seen even races that have been won flip because of the fraudulent vote count the Democrats love to do. So we're going to stay on top of it. We're going to stay focused. We're going to stay strong. We're going to stay aware. We're going to stay aware. Make sure we get that vote out. Continue to share with your Democrat friends and just with social media all of the stuff that's going on in the Biden family. Because woo, I feel like if we can just help Joe Biden lose this election, maybe his family will finally get the help they need. They're not going to get it in the White House, you guys. They're not going to get it in the White House. So maybe this is, maybe leaving his laptop at the shop so ridiculously irresponsibly. Maybe it was Hunter Biden's cry for help. And Hunter, we heard you, man. We heard you. All right, that's our show for today. Like I said, I'm ending a little bit early. I do want to give some time to Isaac, who is doing his interview tonight on the Exceptional Conservative Network. The Exceptional Conservative Network. Let me see if we have that here. I know Chris was shared the links. Let me see if I can scroll back and find the link. Yes, so here you can click the exceptionalconservativeshow.com. You can also go to TECN.TV, no WW, just TECNTV.com, TECN TV. I'm going to type it in here. TECNTV.com. There we go. That's the link right here. TECNTV.com. That's where Isaac's going to be live in just a few minutes right here at 9 o'clock, top of the hour. So do tune in to Kenneth McClinton's show this evening. Other than that, y'all, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank all my stalkers and haters who are here watching the show, paying attention to every little word I say. You guys are making this election season so much fun. I'm having such a good time over here and really reaching out to the voters and making a difference. I know not everybody likes who I vote for president. I love my president. I'm not mad if you don't, but we do all need to get along in our neighborhoods and our communities. We do all need to stand up and get along in our country and work together to protect the liberties that are written up in this Constitution and to provide that form of citizen government that we were promised by our founders that is truly accountable and responsible to the people. So we're going to keep doing that this year. We're taking our country back, everybody, one single step at a time. And I love each and every one of you for tuning in to do it with me. We will be back. I will be on TECNTV.com tomorrow. We'll be back again on Wednesday. Until then, you guys do tune in to Isaac's interview a little bit later. But until then, thank you for tuning in. This is your girl, Suzzanne Monk. As always, my friends, jumping out.